Yeah.
You're live, so don't go much past your podium there.
All right, this is my barrier, right?
That's your barrier, yes.
Okay. I played those two songs because I'm looking for something. I'm looking for a new sound. I haven't found it yet. With every move of God, with every revival, with every move, comes a whole new sound. And I'm expecting it. Years ago, when I met Stephen and Alex, which is a band that we ended up doing some recording for and some other things. And somebody told me, I think they were playing like at an outdoor event. And I went to go see them because we had started up a recording studio. And I went to go see them. And I said, wow, these guys are really talented. But man, that style is just, it's over. Now, when Michael Smith came out with that stuff, I mean, it was, when we're getting into Hillsong and kind of these big concerts and all of that, I don't know I guess full worship style. It was fresh and new, and it was very cool. Now, it's like some clothes. They have to go completely out of style before you can bring them back. But it's like dated, it's like, okay, it's cool, but I'll listen to a song or two, but I don't want a steady diet of it because it's old. And I'm waiting for that. I guess I got spoiled because in the generation that I grew up in, which was probably the greatest music ever, in my opinion, because it's still around. As kids, we don't want to listen to anything that our parents listen to. It's like, I'm not going to listen to that. That's old. But some of the stuff I listen to is still being listened to, surprisingly. Never thought it would last this long. But there is a sound that accompanies every move of God. And right now, God is on the move. And so I'm expecting that to rise. I'm expecting that to come out. And so every time I see something that's brand new, I'm listening to it to see, is this it? Is this the start of it? I don't know. It's like, you don't know what you're looking for, but you'll know it when you find it. It's the same kind of thing. But that's not part of the message. That's just whatever. If you haven't noticed, our brains are pre-wired for the negative. That's just the way our brains work. You wash a car, you find, what do you see? You don't see the clean car. You see the little spot that you missed. Or the person that's watching you wash the car doesn't look at the entire car and how beautiful it looks. You missed a spot. Right? Not, oh, you did a great job, but you missed a spot. That's just how we're pre-wired, right? Years ago, we did this thing at work, which was kind of an exercise in coaching people. And so they took 3 people, a whole room of salespeople. We took 3 people out of the room, and we said, go outside, and we're going to have something for you to do when you come in, but we're not going to tell you what it is yet. And we put a pitcher of water on a table and an empty cup right next to it. And so with those 3 people were outside, what we did was said, okay, we're going to bring the first one in. And did you ever play that game where, when you're a kid, where you would hide something in the room that you wanted them to find, and as they walked around the room, you say, hot, cold, until they found what you're looking for? it was a version of that game. So we brought the first guy in and told everybody in the class, only boo them when they're going away. So the object was to get them to understand to pour the water into the cup, right? That was the goal. And they said every time they walk near that, don't say anything. But when they walk away from it, boo them. And then somebody had a watch, and they would, a stopwatch, and they would see how long it took them to figure out what it was we wanted them to do, which is to pour the water in the cup. So they get next to it, everybody's silent. They walk away from it, boom, all beating up on them. Come back next to it, say nothing. And they timed it. So then the second person they brought in, and they said, do the opposite. So cheer them when they get close to it, but when they walk away from it, don't say anything. Now that time was a little bit improved, but not a lot over the first person. And then naturally the last person, the third person to come in was to do both. When they get close to it, clap and cheer them on. And when they go away from it, boo them. And of course, that took the shortest amount of time for them to figure out what it was we wanted them to do. God is your greatest cheerleader. When Jim Riley was here, and I'm going to include myself in this, there are times when there's just some junk up here. There's just some junk in my life, okay? There's just some junk. And Jim Riley's here, and I'm like, ooh, ooh. Maybe I won't go today. I'll let Shelley run the whole thing. Really, I'm serious. So I'll put myself on the spot. I know that nobody else is in that predicament, but me. But God he's my greatest cheerleader. Because I'm like, I screwed up, I screwed up in this or whatever. And he's so gracious. And what that does is it motivates you. It motivates you. We don't know how good we have it. We really don't. And he is so opposite to how the world has perceived him. How does the world perceive him? Get it together. What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? Don't you get it? Straighten up and fly right. All those sayings. I don't see, I know the Old Testament looks very different than the New Testament, but I don't see that as his heart. Go down the list. Woman at the well, woman caught in adultery, blah, 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 on and on and on and on. The woman last night in the gas station, just from appearances, and I'm not judging, but just from appearances, has had a rough life. She knows that. She don't need me to say anything. What can an encouraging word do for somebody? We got a message back from Christian. He's in GED classes, finally pulling it together. He's leading a Bible study in prison. Now I'm getting ready to send him a message, because it's on my heart to send him a message about how proud I am. Now, to most people, that seems stupid. That seems ludicrous. He's there because of some consequences. What the world wants to say is, you got what you deserved. Maybe so. But except for the grace of God, most of us in here could be in the same position. We just never got caught. I'm being honest, okay? I'm being honest. So I'm getting ready to put a message together, send to him, and tell him how proud I am of him. Because that will be the fuel for him to keep going. Because it's not a fun place to be in. Bless you. That's not a fun place to be in. Although he, miraculously, he has it way better than he thought he would. I even got Sarah plugged into it now. She got a letter back.
You know, his birthday's the 31st, right?
Yeah, his birthday's coming up. And he goes, I don't know, Sarah just had it in his heart to reach out to him and encourage him, which I'm so glad he did. But he sends me a message and says, who's this Sarah person? I don't know her. Why is she sending me mail? What's up with this? I said, she's just a person in the church that God put on her heart to encourage her to keep going, keep going, keep going. Turn it around. Turn it for good. Turn it for good. But that's really hard. And I've said this before, in the beginning, it was just like, man, God, you see things in people that I don't see. You see potential in people that it was really, really tough for me to see that potential. Moses was a murderer. He had to run away before they took him out. Paul, before he was knocked off his high horse, he as well was a murderer. God sees something. God sees something. He looks beyond the obvious. He's not there with a microscope saying, you missed the mark here. You missed the mark here. It's not him. Now, there are times of correction. I'm not saying that there aren't. But overall, it's probably 80% clapping, and 10 or 15% correction. Nothing is more motivating than a word of encouragement. Because the fault that you're pointing out, it's no surprise to that person. They know where they stand. They're aware of it. When you're doing, this, whenever you're doing something like doing some kind of home improvement or something like that, you see the thing that you need to fix or the thing that's not right. And what happens, you don't notice anything else, but what happens once you fix that? The thing that was less bad, all of a sudden now that stands out. It's like, oh, I got that fixed. Oh, I didn't even notice this thing. Now I got to do this. Can you get that fixed? Oh, now I got to do this. And it's this cycle of, okay, I'm never going to be done. How many unfinished projects do I have around the house? Don't laugh too hard. Shower that's not installed yet. Two cars, a car that needs a fuel pump, another, I mean, just, the list goes on and on.
You need 48 hours.
I'll get to it. And the clock just keeps rolling and rolling. In the other building, it just seemed like we were going to be there forever. It really did. I mean, I can open up now that we're out, I can open up. But there's many conversations I had with God about being stuck and not seeing a way out. And I heard, it was actually in a song, but it was basically preaching. And it really spoke to me because it said, I felt like God was talking to me because it said, you didn't despise the days of small beginnings. Even though I wanted to, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hang in there, I'm gonna hang in there. And this became a total surprise. Out of left field. I never expected that this whole thing would happen the way it did in such a short period of time. But when you're in that spot, you feel like you're never going to get out. Because you get the enemy yapping in your ear saying things are never going to get better. And then one day they do. Well, surprise. Like I said before, the opportunities to encourage somebody else don't come always at a convenient time. And they don't come necessarily because of the reality that you're seeing in that person, in their person's life. But pointing out what's wrong doesn't cut it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't lie about it, but you can always find something good that's going on that you can build up. The best example is Gideon. Gideon's threshing in a wine press. That's the wrong place to be threshing wheat. You got to thresh wheat on the top of a hill so that the wind carries away the chaff. But he's threshing wheat in a wine press because he doesn't want the Philistines to see what he's doing because he knows they'll come down and steal his food. So he's basically a coward. He's basically a coward. And God walks up to him and says, Gideon, mighty man of valor. He's anything but a man of valor standing there. His knees are knocking together. The Bible says he calls those things that is not as though they were. There's something, and you know that the verses say the power of life and death are in the tongue. There is something creative that is released when you speak to someone about what their destiny is. And that speaking is and encouragement of who they're going to be. It's almost like you're making it happen by saying it. And if you say it long enough to that person, they start to believe it. And once they believe it, they become it. It works. It works. I don't know how. I don't know how. When Clay got that word from Jim Riley, he was lit up like a Christmas tree. He was 10 feet off the ground.
Came into my room and was like, "You want to hear it?"
Yeah. Yeah. You have that power. I'm telling you right now, you have that ability. Person in the grocery store, person in Walmart. You got a field of people out there who were brought up and told, you're never going to amount to nothing. You're just like your mother, you're just like your father. You're never, negative talk, negative talk, negative talk. And what do they believe? Especially if you're a little kid.
Yeah.
If you're a little kid and there's somebody in authority above you, your natural instinct as a kid is, well, that's an adult, they must know what they're talking about. If they say I'm never going to become anything, then I'm not going to become anything. And they believe it. They internalize it. You can do anything you want to do. Why? Because that's what the word says. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Not I can do some things. Not occasionally I can do a few things. He says I can do all things. But there's a line in that last song of Leland's. And he says, the heck is it? Basically, you are heaven on earth, or you are heaven to the earth. Because God wants to work through you. You say, well, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor, I've never been to Bible school. He don't care. Most powerful people in this book were not professionals. What's that expression? Professionals built the Titanic, but an amateur built the ark.
The ark floated.
You have the power to completely change somebody's life. The girl that used to lead worship for us in the theater. What do you want to do when you get out of high school? I'm going to go to nursing school, work in a nursing home. Yeah. Where the Lord was, you're going to Bethel, and you're going to travel the world. But I don't have the money. He does. She didn't have any money. It's what, $3,000 a year, I think? Something like that. 3,000-4,000 a semester. She went. It all got paid for. And she ended up in multiple countries. But the word had to be released. It had to be spoken that this is what you're going to do. Because we settle for less than what he has. Because settling for less than what he has is our way of saying, I'm only going to operate in what I can do in my own strength. And so it's okay for you, as you're encouraging somebody, to raise the bar and tell them that they can do the ridiculous, that they can do way beyond what they think that they can do. And he's got great plans for you. I know you heard it on Sunday, Nick, but he's got stuff for you. Strap in. Strap in and enjoy the ride, because he's got great things for you. So here's what we need to, here's what we all need to do. Okay? Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. And when God gives you that little nudge, okay, go encourage that person. I mean, so what is it? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. What do you want done unto you as far as encouragement? You want somebody to say, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. You can do this. I believe in you. And they will start. I mean, that's what I want said to me. So that's what I want to do to somebody else. You can do this. Because I'm just going by the book. Because the book says you can do it. Whatever the it is. Whatever the it is. Many, many years ago, my pastor came to me and said, this Sunday, here's the announcements for Sunday. I want you to read them in church on Sunday. And I'd be like, my knees were shaking. It's like I have to speak in front of a bunch of people. I can't do that. I was an introvert, complete introvert. God says, you're not. I said, yes, I am. I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. And he basically ties a rope around your waist and throws you in the water. And if you start to drown, he'll lift you up a little bit. But that's how you learn how to swim. It's fact. A couple of things. You got to eliminate the negative people out of your life. Sorry. Or limit, I should say, severely limit their input in your life. Hi, how you doing? All right, and as soon as they start with all that negative crap, okay, bye, nice to see you. I'll catch up at Christmas. Bye-bye. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Encourage and be around encouragers. Yeah. I have no idea who put that up there, but you go up there and take a look. There's no other writing on the pulpit up there other than that. Be an encourager. I'm not about to take it off. I'd be scared to. Lightning might hit me. Serious.
Yeah.
Be an encourager. That girl last night, yeah, she was crying, and it was just a quick little encouragement prayer. It was nothing special, but it touched a nerve. Touched the nerve. I'll probably never see her again in the rest of my life. Who knows? But how many people, and you look at people that have gotten, I don't know, I just shouldn't say famous, but successful in somewhere in life, right? And you read their biography, and they'll say, well, a teacher said one thing to me, or some adult spoke into their life, and it could be one sentence that changed the entire course of their life, both for the good and the bad. So I want you to be on the lookout. I want you to be on the lookout. And you can see it in somebody's face, or you can hear it in a comment they make. Some little hint that you get this neon sign in your mind that's going off and say, here, here, here. Don't miss that. Don't walk away. God, you open your mouth and God will fill it with what to say. Eventually, you develop that prophetic thing where you know you're right on target. But it doesn't have to start out that way. It can just be an encouraging word that you make up. And over time, God will fill your mouth to where it gets very specific. And then that really starts to get their attention. Then the prophetic is coming out of your mouth, and they're like, how did you know that? But it doesn't start there, prime the pump. Say words of encouragement are easy. Hey, you're doing a great job. Even if it looks like a mess. Hey, you're doing a great job. Really appreciate you. Speak it, because there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that. And you know what, right now? People that do not have a relationship with God, they don't know where to turn. They don't know which end is up, because everything they have trusted in has gone down the tubes. Everything. And they're looking, the time is ripe. The time is ripe. And every once in a while, you'll circle back. And God will show you, because sometimes you do those things, and then you never see the person again. And you don't know, did I have any effect? But every once in a while, you'll do that, and then some period of time will pass, and then God will let you see that seed that you sowed has grown into something. So don't worry whether it's praying for sickness or praying for encouragement or somebody that's suicidal or whatever. Sometimes things happen right away, a lot of times they don't. But he will give you the benefit to know that what you spoke into that person's life bloomed into something. And you go, wow. And then you start thinking, what if I didn't do that? What if I didn't take the time to speak that in that person's life? Meaning nobody else did. So is what he told Esther. Okay? For such a time as this is your job. But if you don't do it, God will make it happen anyway. And you'll be the one regretting that you weren't a player in what happened. And that's a sick feeling. Yeah, you miss it. You miss it. And that's like, I've done enough of those to know that feeling it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. That was my turn to step onto the stage and the scene and provide that word. Man, there's nothing better than making that delivery and knowing that if it wasn't for you, that thing would have never happened. It's a really good feeling. Okay, that's all I got. Shelley, got something we can? I figured you had something cooked up there, since I already used our last song up ahead of time. Think about it. God wants to use you. He wants you to be a part of what he's doing. I don't know why. But if I was him, I would give me a second thought. But he did. I've seen its power at the back, right in front of me. He delights in having you a part of what he's doing. He delights in giving you those opportunities to make a difference.
Since Goliath took his knee.